In this video, I'll try to look at one of the more powerful techniques that I've found helpful for the minority of students who've chosen to actually practice it, and those that have had a giggle and found it really, really useful. And it's what I call avoiding silly mistakes. And so what it would look like is something like this. As I'm working through questions, as I study for maths, gearing up for exams, inevitably, when I make random little mistakes, now I'm not talking about difficult questions that you don't have a cooking clue what's going on, but questions that you just, you know yourself that you've just made a total random mistake. You forgot to take -5 to the other side and make it a +5. You forgot to, when you square root, go plus minus. And so it's scuppered and messed up a lot of the rest of the questions that follow. Each time you make a random mistake, you just put a little dot. So you might have gone through an hour session of practicing maths papers, and now you are taking a break, and then maybe you're coming back and just looking at the memo and seeing how you did, and you realize, flip, you made these 3 careless, silly mistakes. Then each little dot equals 5 times the amount of push-ups or sit-ups. And you might say, you're crazy, this is maths you're talking about. Why are you talking about push-ups and sit-ups? If you make a lot of mistakes, you'll have a finely tuned body and ready for the beach and all of that kind of stuff. And so that's not a negative thing. And B, what you're doing is you're just creating an association in your mind and your body that when I just make careless mistakes, there's going to be a bit of pain, there's going to be a consequence. And so subconsciously, you might find yourself catching yourself making less and less of these random little mistakes. And my hope for all of my students is when you write your matric final, the mark that you get is the exact mark that you are capable of and deserve, as opposed to, I am an 80% student, but I often find myself losing silly mistakes. And so at the end of the day, I got 65% for maths at the end of high school. And I think most of you can attest to when you get a test back or exam, having a couple of those silly mistakes that have brought down your mark and you annoyed with yourself. And so a real life example, I ran a ultimate frisbee club and in East London. And one thing that we would do is in practices to stop just silly casual dropping of the disc, we would just say if you dropped it, then you would go and do pyramids, you'd go and do sprints on the side of the field until the next person dropped a frisbee, or maybe for 3 minutes you just were doing those runs. And I can vividly remember that feeling of just, I really don't want to drop this disc because I'd rather be playing ultimate frisbee and doing fun drills and things than just randomly sprinting up and down the field on the side. And so it did make, for myself and many of the other players, a more well-oiled machine. And so most people laugh at this technique, but those few people who have done it and have said to me, I've done push-ups and sit-ups consistently for all the little mistakes that I've made, have found that their marks have become much more accurate and a pure reflection of what they understand and how they're doing, and are eternally grateful for having done something like this. And so I would highly, highly recommend trying to get into a technique like this. If you found this video helpful, please like it, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Thanks.